welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, Season 10. It's been 10 seasons of empowering small businesses such as yourselves, handholding and guiding you in your growth journey. I'm Sunanda Jayasilan. On the show tonight, we are bringing you our limited edition Atmanirbhar series, the Leaders of Tomorrow Marvels, focusing on companies and businesses that are proudly championing the India story, making in India, for India, and are proudly wearing their Indian tag. First up, I'm in conversation with Panasonic, someone who's synonymous with most of the gadgets that you will have in your home and in your offices. I'm also in conversation tonight with our FMCG major, WoW Skin Science. Thank you so much for doing this interview here with us on the Leaders of Tomorrow, and we're doing a series of conversations around Atmanirbhar companies. Now, you embody Atmanirbhar because you're manufacturing here in India. You're one of the largest manufacturers. You have 15 manufacturing locations across the country. You're manufacturing in India, for India, but also for the globe. And we'll come to some of those different aspects of your business. But first off, thanks so much for taking the time to speak to us.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me here.
Every time you see the budget rolling around, there's always conversation around GST. Given your involvement, of course, with the industry association and industry body, what would you like to see by way of taxation for your industry?
Of course, we wish to improve the demand. And one of the way to let demand expand faster is to make products more affordable for people. And therefore, over last few years, you see that GST Council has been taking necessary steps over a period of time in this direction. So for example, when GST was imposed, all the televisions were falling in the bracket of 28% of GST. And then subsequently, the small screen segment, the GST rate was reduced. And of course, industry expects that in categories like air conditioners, which are no longer a luxury, they are in some sense becoming a necessity. And especially into energy efficient air conditioners, can we look at a lower rate of GST to make them affordable? And this will create a positive impact because the energy consumption is far more efficient as you go higher up on the energy efficiency, the star rating itself. Sure. Those are the expectations of the industry. But eventually, it is up to the GST Council to carefully look at the collections and also in the time to come to take such measures.
Could you talk to us about the fact that more and more businesses, including yourself, of course, are turning carbon footprint neutral? The focus on the environment has become just so much more. How are you doing it? What is your advice for small businesses about how they can, that this is not just a mandate that you take off on a piece of paper, but it's something that you're embodying as a company?
I would like to say two things here. Yeah. One is it is responsibility of organizations, irrespective of their size, to clarify the very purpose of their existence. And so this has to be very customer centric. And my advice to young entrepreneurs is, of course, to create value, but that value has to be created considering the end customer. What is the value which you are wanting to create for your consumer? So that has to be central to your purpose. So define your basic business philosophy in a clear way and live with that philosophy for many, many years to come. This is point number one. And second is alignment of our activities with the national cause also is very important. So for example, you spoke about Atmanirbhar Bharat. It is responsibility of industry and industry leaders and the young entrepreneurs to understand this cause. And today, economy and nationalism cannot be separated. So this new word is economic nationalism. Okay. And in that sense, eventually the idea is that how can we empower the people of our country? So if that becomes central to the consideration for people into business, then they will be able to create a win-win situation, both for the society and for businesses also. And here at Panasonic, I think our intention has been the same for many, many years.
Imports from our closest neighbor coming into the country, questions on pricing being raised, questions on quality being raised. But at the end of the day, they're competing perhaps for the same share of the market that a lot of the big Indian companies and a lot of the big companies here in the country are fighting for. What is your strategy? Based on that, just give us some advice.
So our strategy is very clear that we want to consistently empower customers to be able to take their decisions based on total cost of ownership. And over a period of time, we have tried to make it more simple for people. For instance, if we consider, let's say, an air conditioner, there can be two considerations. One is the buying cost. When a customer makes that particular purchase, one can always decide depending on the difference of pricing between different brands and SKUs. What we want to really make it simple for consumers is what is the total cost of your ownership, not only the initial buying price, but also over a period of time the operating expenses when you use your air conditioner, the efficiency which is better than others, and the advantage of making after sales service also. Look at air conditioners, these are the products which almost every year needs maintenance of cleaning the filters and those kind of things. So if the product is more durable, if it is not deteriorating over a period of time, and if it is lasting much more longer, then it makes a huge difference in the total cost of ownership.
Okay, since we're talking about pricing, I want to talk about another aspect of pricing, and that is, as we're coming up on the festive season and in the middle really of the festive season, the discounting and the pricing and the price warfare really that takes place. What's your view on that?
We should give a reason for consumer to celebrate, and while on one end the sales is becoming more flatter by the year. So if you go back 10 years before, the sales during the Diwali period used to really peak a lot. However, over the last few years, this trend is becoming more flatter. Of course, it starts to peak during the festival seasons, but it is no longer the same peak which used to happen in the past. However, our intent and passion to let people enjoy this period has not gone down, and therefore a lot of offers keep coming in, and extended warranties, and of course some benefits on price, a better experience on the shop floor for people. So we really create a nice experience, deck the shop floors up to present our products and propose them in a better way, which is more about celebrating the festival itself. So that continues to happen, and I believe that is the spirit of our country, which continues to go on.
Fantastic. All right, so while we did discuss what the mid to short term is looking like for you, is there something that you want to leave us with that's personally exciting you in the mid to short term?
The opportunity of a bright future of our country continues to excite me, and in some sense, we at Panasonic don't believe that India is a land of opportunities. We feel that we need to create capability out of our country, and in that sense, one of my personal ambitions leading this organization in India is that not only we should look at India as a market opportunity, but also how can we position India as a subsidiary which is a capability for the corporation itself. And we have so many capabilities. We spoke about manufacturing. We believe that we should do design-led manufacturing. And for many multinational companies, while most of the time global platforms are proposed to a particular geography, here in our country we want to really customize products based on the requirements of Indian consumers. And therefore, in line with this, we have set up an innovation center in Bangalore 5 years before. Initially, we earmarked a budget of 240 crores for 5 years to let incubation of technology happen. And I'm extremely happy and proud to share with you that starting from scratch, we developed this platform Mirai. And Mirai in Japanese means future of living. And as I shared with you that today we are a very unique organization which proposes products cutting across entire experience within the residential spaces. So we want to create a connected living experience for people. And over next midterm, our intention is to develop, nurture, propose, and again learn and then improve on this platform. And eventually, from a connected living, make it smart living. And the very difference between these two will be two-way communication, and built in a lot of sensors into our products and within the living spaces also, and then make living more comfortable and energy efficient, smarter for people in the time to come. This is the direction which we are taking. And as I said, our intention is not only to look at India as an opportunity, but also as a capability. Sure. So tomorrow, how can we propose the capabilities of our country to other markets of Panasonic globally? In that sense, also provide service to the other subsidiaries of Panasonic. That is our intention.
My last question to you, I understand you are the youngest in this role when you took over, not just in India, but globally at Panasonic. What's your leadership style like? How do you describe it?
Yeah, any individual is a sum total of people around and also their own experiences. So in that sense, I would say that the credit of whatever happens with leaders is actually a sum total of the contribution of people around and people also in the past. I would say that would have happened with me. So I think in some sense, luck creates a way for you, but people create a future for you. So that is what would have happened with me.
Beautifully put. Thank you so much for your time here on the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Pleasure
you.
is all mine.
I'll take a quick break. When we come back, WoW in focus. Back in just a moment. Do stay tuned. Welcome back with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow. You are watching the Leaders of Tomorrow Marvels, a series of conversations we're doing with businesses and companies that we feel are really showcasing what it means to be Atmanirbhar, proudly Indian, proudly self-reliant. My second conversation tonight is with WoW Skin Science. Thanks so much for taking the time to be with us here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, and we're doing this entire series of conversations around Atmanirbhar businesses and companies and what it means to be true Indian and domestic giants, no matter in what space you are, and you are representative of one of those. So Manish, thank you for your time here on the show.
Thanks, Ananda, for having me at your show.
How large is this market?
I see, in a 50,000 crore market, naturals might be around 10%. Okay. In that 10%, we're all fighting. Where we're looking at an expansion of that market is when you see disruption of the balance, 45,000, where consumers are now caring to say, what's good for me and what's bad for me. Yeah. That's when we start eating into more market share of that larger pie. But in the natural side, it's still a small but emergingly larger and larger. Year on year, you'll see a lot of disruption happening there. Consumers are getting very conscious about what's good and what's bad for me. Okay. And though it's a process, it won't happen overnight. That's only going to happen with more and more user trials and trust building with brands like us, how we are trying to give them a good product and a good story for them to use long term.
I'm trying to understand if through this interview you can talk to our entrepreneurs about what it is going to take to really disrupt this market. We are presently in the 10th edition of the Leaders of Tomorrow, and we're asking entrepreneurs like yourself to call out maybe the two big trends or the events in your industry that you think is really going to change the way things are being done.
I think innovation is something which is immensely huge. At least on building a business, right? Now, my advice to budding entrepreneurs, entrepreneurship first is not easy. It looks easy from outside, it looks flashy, but we know all what it takes to be where we are. But giving a view is, I think innovation is critical. Two simple ideologies I believe in is, what can you build what your competition cannot or doesn't have? And what can you communicate what your competition doesn't do? I think these two basic fundamentals is a pathway for you to go and search some treasures out on what could be your next big innovation. So my thought would be aligned on those. Okay,
so then let me pick your brains in saying communicate what you have to your consumers, and you're doing that really well. You have very high profile brand ambassadors. Just give us one example of how you are using your strengths and being able to communicate that effectively.
So, digital market or the e-commerce business is 10% in our category. 90% is still offline. Obviously, we're pretty strong on the digital side with influencers, with writing your blogs, doing all the hygiene levels online. But for you to go and win on the ultimate offline, you have to have different strategies. What works online doesn't mean will work offline for you too on that same strategy. So just giving a point of view, obviously we've got brand ambassadors. We're doing a lot more addressable or relatable communication with the other 90% who resonate with it. That's our next journey where you'll see us again building a lot over the next few years, right? I think we are a very strong product company. There's an old saying, products are built in a factory, but brands are built in a consumer mind. You will see us been playing that brands are built in a consumer mind in the next couple of years to see how this brand will become a solid long-term resilient brand is what we're looking at building. And that comes only with brand building.
Sure. We're doing a series of conversations around Atmanirbhar on the Leaders of Tomorrow, and you are a perfect example really of what it means to be, and have that manufacturing prowess. What can you, tell us about your manufacturing facilities? Are you building up a war chest to really ramp up the kind of production that you have?
Yeah, so obviously we have a pretty robust manufacturing lineup, looking at obviously scaling it across India, but we proudly make it in India. We're the first Indian beauty brand to be listed in Walmart USA, right? And COVID time when there was an I wouldn't like to say our neighbors' products, we went flashing right in front of our label saying made in India, and that's something which we've continued to keep. And we take a lot of pride of what we make in India. We've done so many innovation and movement of our raw materials where we were dependent so much on exports, now made in India. Because one is, again, we are a natural brand. Most of the natural ingredients go out from India to the rest of the world for manufacturing for other brands too. Why are we doing it the other way around? And that is something which we are continuing to build. It's a long horizon for us to capture that, but at least we are on a path to being true to say that, we are truly made in India. Our dependency outside is less. Look at how much, 80% of our manufacturing workforce is women. So we have a social cause also on what we are building.
Then my last question to you is, and I understand initially you were bootstrapped. You now, of course, have raised funds, but we've spoken about you competing against the giants of the FMCG space, and that's going to require a lot of funding. Talk to us about what this fundraising journey has been like for you. Are you in the market for more funds, yes or no? Will you be able to divulge more information?
Yeah, so I think fundraising is not the easiest. Though it's good to have a war chest, and we've been lucky at our end to have two blue chip investors backing us. One is Chris Capital and GIC. But it took us 7 years to go and raise money from outside. First 6 years was sheer hard work, going deeper to understand whether will we exist 20 to 30 years from now. Doing a lot of product fit to understand will be there. It's a responsibility when you take an institutional investor on board. It's at our end, continue to believe in, keep it as bootstrap as you can, get to know whether you're a product fit, consumers love you, and that's when you start thinking about those journeys. At our end, it took us a little longer, but there's nothing called. It's a long race for us. It's a huge market. And I think it's a perfect timing where we would have, on raising more funds. If we require more capital, we'll look at it at that time. But at this moment, we're pretty well capitalized for at least a couple of years.
Manish, we're here at your head office in Bangalore. And we have a range of your products here. You have 3 verticals, if I can call them that. And we have a fair representation of a lot of your products at least?
Yeah, kind of. Most of our best winners are here. Apple cider vinegar, onion. Apple cider vinegar is one of my closest ingredients that we launched. Was again done with a lot of consumer research. Okay. One of my favorite ingredients. I
was just going to come to that. Yeah. So if you can pick one product, or why don't you let us in on perhaps what your hair care and your skincare routine is like? Apple cider vinegar topping that list?
I use my products. Let's all be honest about it.
Okay.
From the bathing bars to the shampoos to the face washes. I love my products.
Okay, but you have to pick one. I'm going to put you on the spot.
So I love my vitamin C face washes. My apple cider vinegar shampoo is one of my favorites. You must try our new sheet masks. It's with innovation. Okay. You might like them. It's a little bit innovative on how you could use a sheet mask being mobile along with it. But these are some of the products which I love. We are the first Indian brand to launch a face wash in a paper tube, right?
Mm-hmm. Do you use all of your products?
I do it. I love it.
Fantastic. It's been fun shooting today's interview.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for your time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Out of time on tonight's interviews. If you have any feedback for us or any other companies that you feel you would like to see as part of the series, do let us know. Our contact details are on your screens as we speak. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.